All right, so we want to try another role play. I am the narcissist, and Kristen is going to be my wife, soon to be ex, and Melissa's going to mediate this session. So here we go. To you, Melissa.
Okay. Welcome. This is our third mediation. And so we've worked through several issues. I'd like to know today, we have 90 minutes for this session. And so I just want to know what is our focus today and what are the biggest issues and what has changed since our last mediation. And I'd love to start with Victoria first. If you could maybe give me just briefly what's happened and if this could be a great mediation, what would we accomplish?
Well, nothing's happened because she's not speaking to me. Like, she's like, so I don't know how we're supposed to negotiate anything because she's like, she gives me one word answers when I ask her anything. And, so it's not very helpful, I don't think.
Okay. So I think there were some items though that you were needing to provide. And so there just could be some, were you able to upload those documents?
No, I told you last time, I don't have them. I don't have any documents. I keep everything in my head.
Now, Kristen, what if we could have a great mediation? What would that look like to you? What are some of the key issues that we should discuss today?
Well, I'm not sure if this means anything, but I found a work contract, and when it comes to the finances, I know he was saying his salary is $10,000, but the work contract states he earns $15,000. I don't know if it's old or where.
First of all, what are you even doing going through my stuff? Like what? That's illegal. You can't, you know what? I can't do this if she's going to be like doing things illegally.
Well, part of why we decide to move forward in this capacity was because it's an open forum to have discussions that could cost and take a lot longer time, effort, and money. So in that capacity, I think that we can deal with the work contract. Are you familiar with the work contract with ABC Company? And can you give us some clarification on that?
Yeah, I did a job. It's over. It's done. It's a long time ago.
And typically in your business, where is all the money deposited? Do you have a regular kind of business practice?
It depends. It depends on what's going on. Like sometimes I might put it in my joint account, our joint account. Sometimes I might put it in a separate account. Sometimes I have to put it back in the business, and sometimes I might just get paid in cash and I use it for utility bills or, when I get money orders. It's all different. It's never the same. It's all, there's no rhyme or reason to anything I do.
Do you have like an internal or external accountant that you typically work with to like balance your books every month? Or
no, it's all in my head. It's all in my head. I can hold on to so much information. I don't need accountants. I can do this all in my head.
And at the end of the year, are you filing your own tax return or are you working with H&R Block or something?
I have an accountant. It's very, the stuff is complex. It's very hard to understand. Like not everybody can understand the kind of complex business I run. So, I have an accountant who knows what's going on.
Of course. And so at the end of the year, do you just provide the information to the accountant or are you actually giving them statements? Are you just telling them the results of your books?
Some of each. Sometimes I give them statements. Sometimes I just tell them. It just depends on what's going on at the time.
So right now that contract is not, you're not currently working with that particular company.
I don't know. I might be. Depends on if they hire me again. I don't know.
Kristen, yeah, well, what I found on it said the date was still for another year. I don't know.
Again, why are you going through my stuff? I don't understand.
It was in the kitchen drawer.
But does it have your name on it? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's illegal? I think I need to file a police report.
Well, you can certainly talk to your attorney if you want to talk about legality or legal issues. A lot of times this type of conversation is that we're trying to collect documents, we're trying to understand some of the reasons for things, and we're getting some clarity. So it's important for us to know where your income is coming from, because that's the basis of potentially the business valuation, as well as a payment for alimony and child support.
What I put on the form I filled out for you at the very beginning is what I make.
Well, part of our process, since we're a financial mediator, is we're actually going to look at a couple different documents. And my role is to make sure that everybody has the enough information to make some decisions. And so as long as Kristen still has some questions and we're all willing to go through this process, we're going to try to get the additional information for Kristen. So can you provide who you're currently working with and whatever contracts you currently have, and maybe that will clear up the inconsistencies?
Yeah, well, I would have to go check. I don't know off the top of my head.
Do you think it's a conversation that we could have with your accountant and maybe talk to him, all three of us together?
You can try. It's really hard to get an appointment with this accountant. He's very, very busy. But I mean,
but you'd be willing to send a letter, an email to me and Kristen and the accountant and give them permission to have that discussion, correct?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. But I'm just saying it's really hard to get a hold of this guy.
Well, it may be that he understands more about the situation than you necessarily do.
No. Nobody understands better than I do. No. I am the one who knows the most about everything.
Well, I think that, we have a scheduled meeting in 2 weeks. Do you think that within the next 2 weeks, that's going to be a possibility that if we send that email now, that we could see if he responds, and I will then continue to follow up until we have a meeting set in a Zoom format?
Oh, like I said, I'll try. I'll try. Can't guarantee it.
So I hope that you guys understand that if you continue to proceed through divorce in a litigation manner as well, that there's going to be discovery. And so a lot of these documents you're going to need to provide to each other. So I think if we talk about that going forward, that if one person requests the information, we're going to at least consider it and possibly provide that information. So if the accountant has information and is willing to provide it, I think that would be helpful in this process. Do you agree?
Well, I do everything right. I always do what's right. So of course, that's what I want to do. But, it's impossible. I can't possibly turn over everything when she's not even speaking to me. It's got to be a two-way street. I can't be the only one participating here.
Understood. Kristen, what are some of the things that are kind of limiting your ability to want to speak outside of the mediation?
His attitude. I think it's safer for me not to be speaking to him, and I would rather handle these things in mediation and have a list of what we both need to provide. If you need anything from me, I will bring it, and what we need from him, if he will be able to bring it as well. Other than that, we don't have kids involved, so I don't see the need to be communicating with him about anything pertaining to the divorce right now.
Well, then I don't see how we can mediate if she won't even talk to me, so.
Well, what we've talked about is that we'll communicate in this container and we'll discuss the issues. And over the next couple weeks, you guys will put together the list. I think we've talked for the last 90 minutes about the list of documents that we're going to need. And I will follow up with an email and provide you guys with the documents that are needed. We're going to have another meeting in 2 weeks. And so if we can get those documents before then, that would be great. And then everybody can take a look at them. We're going to upload them to a portal that everybody has access to. So once they get uploaded, Kristen, you'll get notification and you can take a look. It's your responsibility to look over the documents that are being provided to you and bring questions or comments.
She's not going to be able to understand any of the documents, I'm going to have to explain them to her. So I think she and I should get together so that I can explain all the documents she needs to see. So, I have to explain it to her.
Well, unfortunately, that's a boundary that she has already exhibited that is necessary for right now for her safety and mental health. And so I think
But are you saying that are you insinuating that I'm dangerous? Do you think I would hit my wife? Hurt my wife?
We're just stating what Kristen is. I am here to just kind of move the process along, not really.
Well, I don't like your attitude. I think you're suggesting that I'm a violent person, and there's nothing documented that would verify that. There's nothing. I wouldn't hurt anyone. So
yeah, and
I really take offense at that.
And that's noted, but we've also discussed the fact that this is a container that is going to be the best way to move forward right now. If you guys choose that it's no longer the best option, that's absolutely, we don't need to schedule any more mediations. But in this process, if one person identifies a boundary and they want to be efficient and make sure that we communicate via these meetings, I think that for right now, that should be something that we agree to. It could be in several sessions that we get some clarity on everything and we can have reasonable discussions outside of mediation.
You mean several more sessions? You don't think we can wrap this up?
If everybody has all the information that they need to make the decisions that they need to make to settle this, then absolutely we can finish that. But we've already kind of gone through that Kristen has several outstanding items. So if you could provide those items, we could certainly attempt to work through them at the next session. And a little bit of that is based on your engagement and my engagement. So it's all three of us working together to understand the situation and to be sort of acknowledge that somebody might need a little bit. Would it be helpful if I had a separate meeting with Kristen to walk through some of the documents with her?
No, I don't want I don't want you meeting behind my back, if that's what you mean.
Yes.
I'll go through with my attorney then.
All right.
Sounds good.
Can I?
Yeah.
Who's triggered by me?
Whew, girl, I'm like playing with this blue tack here. I'm like, this blue tack is warm and stretchy, guys.
Oh my God, right? This is what we're dealing with. Yeah. I mean, you can't get a straight answer. You're walking on eggshells, right? Like,
yeah. And I would say it will be even more
Melissa.
Subtle than that. It will be like, well, here's the tax return for the past 2 years. And I'll be like, well, we really wanted 3 or 4 tax returns. And they'll be like, why do you need that? Okay, red flag. Like, again, you're just exposing the red flags. And you also have to work with a mediator that is going, is a male mediator better than a female? Depending upon the circumstances, no, you're never going to pick the best, rightest mediator, right? But if you know that your spouse is going to be like this, that would be a great question for the mediator is like, how do you deal with disrespectful communication? Because I'll tell you that for the most part, they're not going to be as obtuse as Victoria. They're going to be very subtle, why are you looking? So are you looking at more information? They're going to actually kind of lower down to a place of normal communication a little bit. And that's going to disarm you even more.